Let's do our first recap lesson on trigonometry. So, first of all, we need to remember this acronym here, SohCahToa. That's just a handy way of remembering how sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta are all defined in terms of a right angle triangle. First of all, we have to define what we're going to refer to these lengths as. The first and easiest one to recognise is the hypotenuse. You'll be familiar with this from Pythagoras' theorem. It's the longest side which is opposite the right angle. And then, depending on where our angle is, we have the opposite and adjacent. In this case, the opposite will be over here because that is the side which is opposite the angle, and the adjacent will be here, the side which is adjacent to the angle. This then reminds us that sine is equal to the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Just using OA, just to remind us. These all say opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent. Cos is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and tan is the opposite divided by the adjacent. So let's just quickly remind ourselves how we actually solve something when we're given side lengths. So let's pretend just for now that we know this is 3 and that is 6. That would tell us that sine theta, as we have the opposite and hypotenuse, is equal to 3 divided by 6, which is the same as a half. Just notice we would get exactly the same angle if we had a 1 there and a 2 there, or a 10 and a 20. Anything in that ratio would be a similar triangle, and therefore we should get exactly the same angle. So how do we solve this? We need to use sine inverse, just like multiplication is the inverse of division and vice versa. So if we want to solve this, we need to use the inverse of sine. Sine inverse of a half, and our calculator tells us that that is 30. Okay, so we know that angle would be 30 degrees in this case. What if we want to find an angle? Then in that case, let's just say that, we've just found the angle. Let's say we want to find a side length. Let's say that we know the opposite is 6 and we want to know the adjacent. We don't know it yet. However, we do happen to know that this is an angle of 30 degrees. Okay, so we identify that we're using tan, opposite and adjacent. So we put in the information we know. Tan of 30 is 6 over x, and we want to know what x is. So we remove the fraction, cross multiplying like we've seen before. X will equal 6 divided by tan 30. Remember, tan 30 is just a number. You can put it in your calculator. So that would be 6 divided by, and your calculator will tell you that that is 1 over root 3, or alternatively root 3 over 3. They're the same number. If we rationalise the denominator, we can see that. Simplifying this, we're going to get 6 lots of root 3. So that is our unknown length, 6 root 3. Practice some of these if you can't quite remember how to use SohCahToa on right angle triangles.